Morning y'all. Right, today we're going to talk about Odyssey Stroke Lab putters. Let's spend a day with these kids, we'll try them out. I've got Sam Putt Lab, we've got the new shaft in here as well, they look interesting. Odyssey Stroke Lab, I've got the number 3, I've got another shape in my office as well. Let's give them a bit of a review. So today's question, how often do you change your putter? When did you last change your putter? And how much difference can a putter make? 2 questions actually. When did you last change it? And how much difference can a new putter make? Can it make as much difference as changing your driver, for instance? In that comment section down below, hit the thumbs up button if you don't already. And remember to subscribe to the channel if you want updates every time I post a video. Stroke Lab, shall we? Odyssey Stroke Lab putters. We've got some different weighting going on in this club. The multi-material Stroke Lab shaft, as they're calling it. So we basically get a steel part at the bottom here with a graphite part coming up to the top, making this shaft considerably lighter. I think the graphite bit saves around 40 grams worth of weight. We then in turn get 2 weights put down in the bottom. So they're adding 10 grams of weight down here at the bottom with these 2 sole weights. And then they're adding a 30-gram weight to the end in the putter shaft here up in the grip end. And you can feel it. If I hold the club up this way, you can really start to feel the weight at the top. So you're getting this real counterbalanced story going on with the Stroke Lab putters. I think they're available in 10 different head shapes. You get the micro hinge face on this one as well. So that's dozens of micro hinges on the face. Basically move a little bit like this as you touch that or as you stroke that ball, trying to give you as much roll as quick as possible. And like I say, you get 10 different shapes, which is going to give you kind of a bit of option for everyone, depending on if you want mallet, more classic shape, straight necks, curved necks, many different options. Right, it's raining out here today, but don't worry, I've got my bucket hat on. Yeah, it looks great. Got a tuttle to kick me off. A nice mallet shaped design, like I said, lots of different head shapes. I have got Sam Putt Lab inside set up as well, so I am going to measure if I can actually see any physical difference in my stroke with the new weighting system in these putters also. So we're going to do that inside. I'm just going to enjoy myself out in the rain to kick us off. What I like about this, I don't know if anyone remembers the old Ram Zebra putters. I used to have one. This one really reminds me of that. So the shape of this is quite fun. I like the big line-up lines. It feels different in your hands. It definitely feels different. Like I say, when you hold it this way, you can feel the weight at each end. And it does feel light in the middle. It's quite unique in the way it feels. And I quite like it. I was in Abu Dhabi a couple of weeks ago at the first tour event of the year. There were plenty of people putting these in their bags. Odyssey gamers and not. I do feel like I'm going to override any of the weight, but if I let it go, if I try and feel that I'm using the different feels of the weights, it does feel nice. The face is medium to soft, not the softest thing in the world, but feels good. What those hinges are doing, it's very hard to tell, to be honest. The colourway of these putters is fantastic. I'm loving the black to the silver. It's a really dynamic, with the white face, a real dynamic look. Does feel good. Let's go and see if Sam picks up anything different. Right, we got Sam. Sam's going to measure if this putter is travelling any different to any of the other data I've got saved on Sam of older putters that don't feature this shaft, for instance. Let's see if there's a physical, real measured comparison, or is it all just stuff that I'm feeling when I'm out there on the putting green. Let's have a look at some of the numbers, see if there is a physical difference. So let's kick us off. This is my custom shot putter. If you look at the rotations, I'm 3.7 closed on the way through to 2.4 open on the way back. So relatively even. Think about the way a putter works, almost like a door opening back to somewhere near a 0 and then closing. So for instance, you wouldn't want straight on the way back and then a massive close on the way through. I like to see a more even kind of level rotations back and through. So this is my custom shot, remember it's quite even back and through, and then the 10 centimeters before impact and after. A little less rotation in there than we might see in a stroke lab, which I'll show you in a second, but 1.3 to 0.5, so a slight hold off on the way through, which is what I've always done. Now how different is that to the stroke lab? Should we have a look? So rotation 5.9 on the way back to a 2.7 on the way through, and then through impact very similar, 2.1 to 1.6, relatively consistent and even numbers. So for me the rotation on those, there's not much in it. There's a little bit more opening on the way back with the stroke lab, but I reckon if I repeated that test, I reckon we're going to see similar numbers time and time again. And obviously got different necks on these two putters. The necks to how they feel, or I feel they lie, will have as a bigger effect on those rotations as any kind of counterbalancing will have. So definitely feeling a difference in that shaft. Is it actually coming through on measured stats? I'm not sure it is. But does it need to, I guess, is a bigger question. And I know lots of you don't like this, and it's always been the premise of my reviews since I started, and there's a line in the rulebook that states that these can't really help you that much. You're going to dial into feelings, because if something does noticeably help a group of golfers, it changes the way they play the game, the R&A step in and they wouldn't let it happen. I think you're dialing into good ideas of feel. We counterbalance what it does. It's going to be no different to what a high spin or low spin driver does, to a weight in the heel or weight in the toe does. It's going to be specific to the player, what they bring to the table, how that then reacts to what they feel, and then as always what they feel. I think what you do have with the Stroke Lab putters is some great looks, decent feels, an interesting feel. You can feel it's lighter in the middle, so that will make a difference to some golfers depending on how they react to it. And a very well made putter. Definitely one for the demo list. Let me know in the comments down below, when did you change your putter last, and also how much difference can a putter make compared to a driver, where I know the review counts for watching driver reviews are so much higher, which saddened me from day one, and I started YouTube, and it still saddens me to this day, because I believe, to be honest with you, this can make as much a difference as any of those gimmicks and techs and different ideas in drivers as you can in a putter. Let me know what you think. Post comments down below. As always, see you tomorrow.